All right, it is officially Wednesday, and you know what that means? That means it is time for small wins with Quinn. And every time I have these conversations as a result of my TEDx talk, I always think about the words and the language of small wins because last time I checked that the small things is what leads to the big results. So just stick with me there because I know that I'm saying that things are small. I'm not saying you're small, your ideas are small, or the moves that you're making are small. What I'm referring to is that it's the small things that you can do, the small conversations, the small stages that can really, really produce big results. If you are just joining me, welcome, welcome, welcome. I know that a lot of people catch this on the replay, but my name is Quinn Conyers, and I transform average events into epic experiences as a professional conference MC. And I started this series, and I plan on doing this throughout the summer to kind of celebrate, acknowledge, and honor the small things that we're doing as speakers and entrepreneurs that are moving the needle forward. And I got this inspiration because on May 1st, I did my very first TEDx talk called The Audacity to Go Small. And it got such positive results. So, for everyone who has already watched it, thank you so much. If you have not watched it yet, go to YouTube, type in my name, or type in The Audacity to Go Small. And it really was a mantra and a calling card for entrepreneurs, business owners, individuals building personal and professional brands that you don't have to start by going big to make big results. And as I'm looking, so many people have responded and has said to me, "Oh my gosh, this is such a breath of fresh air. I've been putting so much pressure on myself to go big, and I wanted to give you your professional permission slip to go small, not to play small, but to go small and maximize what others are missing." So I'm excited, and she is backstage, and I do not want to make anybody wait any longer because normally I do these by myself, but every now and then I have special guests. And if you know anything about me, I like to surround myself with awesome and amazing individuals. And recently I made an announcement. It's a small announcement, but not really. It's a big announcement. It's huge for me, it's huge for my career. And I wanted to kind of bring on the woman who's made this possible, a person that I've got a chance to meet and connect with. Love her energy, love her vibe. You're going to see exactly why she got one of the biggest yeses from me. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. I'm going to introduce her, but more importantly, we're going to have a very timely conversation that if you are a speaker, you are an MC, and you're serious about growing, especially what does the next level look like, this is a conversation that you need to look into. If you just started off and you don't have a speaking reel and you only talk to your cousins and your stuffed animals, this is not the conversation for you. This is for people who've been doing this for a while. You've been there, you've done that, you got the t-shirt, and you are equipped to start a t-shirt business in this line of work. This is where you want to tune into. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up, and we're going to start the conversation. Amy Taylor from Loud Management. Welcome, welcome to Small Wins with Quinn. How you doing? How you feeling?
Good morning, Quinn. Thank you so much for having me. I don't know, it's such an exciting time. Anytime we get to add incredible women to the Loud roster, but knowing kind of where we started this conversation and to end up here and just on the heels of your TEDx talk, your new reel, just all the momentum that you have, it's an honor. So thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And thank you for seeing a spark in me and saying, listen, this girl is someone that, I want in my orbit because I know you see a lot of talented speakers. I know you see a lot of talented, MCs. And I think that, you know, I don't take it lightly that you saw something in me that is allowing us to have this conversation. So let's go ahead and dive into who you are and what you do, right? Because I think that before we get into what this looks like and how is it to get an agent versus a bureau and all those logistics? Tell me a little bit about Amy and why did you decide to start Loud Management? And more particularly, why I'm just so excited. Why did you make a niche or smoke focus on something small like representing women? So tell us a little bit of the backstory about Loud Management.
Mm. Perfect. Okay, where to start? It's a long story, almost 20 years in the making. This is my 18th year in the speaking industry. I've worked with speakers for again, almost 2 decades in a variety of ways. But I think if I want to really, I really want to tie into this idea of small wins and not being afraid to go small, because that's exactly how Loud started. It actually came out of me getting fired from a job that I really, really loved. And like at the time, just, you know, putting together a resume or applying for jobs, it just like my ego was so bruised at the time, like all of that just felt super overwhelming. So it was like, okay, what is one thing I could do to just kind of like pull myself back up? What is that like first step I can take? And I just said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing. Like I know I can do it and it's what I'm passionate about, and I know so many people in this industry who, you know, will support me. And so that choice to even do that is how Loud came about. And I think the choice to represent women, I mean, it's just what I'm passionate about. I mean, I have seen this industry change and evolve. I mean, if you think about 2008, you know, when we were pitching speakers from DVDs, we're making copies of DVDs and sending them via FedEx, you know, to people overnight to pitch speakers. We wouldn't dream of such a thing. You know, we would share your TEDx talk, we would share your Instagram, we would share your website. It was such a different time then. And I really just kind of watched, you know, a lot of women not, number one, get the representation or the visibility or the money that they deserve. And so I'm super passionate about that. And I think it's also beautiful to see our speakers connect. I know you're going to be speaking at an event in a couple months with Judy Holler, who is on the roster. I was just in New York with Marissa Fayer and Dr. Alexandra Sowa from the roster. They had a moderated conversation together to promote Marissa's new book. We've had a number of pop-ups with all of our speakers in Dallas, where we have several of them based where I'm based. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see that support. And I think that now more than ever, like that representation is so important.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you said so much just about women being underrepresented, and also you making a small bet on yourself that has
Mhm.
chosen to be beneficial, because
Yep.
some people have that idea of maybe I want to start my own business, but I'm nervous and I'm scared. And I mean, it's just that you saying yes to the idea of I can do this and I can,
Yes.
expand and take my experience and expertise and package it up into a business,
Mhm.
which has worked. Now let's talk about our connection and how we
Mhm.
even connected. I want to say we were already connected via LinkedIn. It was
Yes.
almost like a LinkedIn connection.
Mhm.
But the reason why I want to tell this backstory, because I am really, really like sold. Like I know I did a TED talk on it, but I'm really sold on like the small opportunities and the small stages.
Mhm.
So if you've been following me, I posted about, how Amy and I connected, but I really did want to dive a little bit deeper into that,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, I know people are sometimes following me because I get so many people asking me how to be a speaker, how to be an MC, and they're looking at the breakthrough, but they're not looking at the been through.
Mm.
And I
Mhm.
say that because we didn't meet on a gigantic stage.
Right. Mhm.
We
Mhm.
did not meet on a stage.
Yep.
Connor, who is the owner of Speaker Brand, was hosting an intimate event
Mhm.
for speakers. Him and I were a part of an organization. And after that organization kind of took a turn, he reached out to me and says, listen, I'm in Dallas. I'm having this event. It's going to be very intimate,
Mhm.
probably anywhere from 12 to 15 people. I know you're used to big stages, but would you be interested in coming and working with us to be a part of this and hosting our event? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yes, speakers, sign me up. And
Yes.
then when I was there, Amy, you were a part of the panel where we
Mhm.
talked about, building a speaker brand. We talked about agents, we talked about bureaus, we talked about the marketing materials and assets, right? And that's how we connected. And as you were literally dropping gems, I'm like taking notes in my mind because it was really good information. But
Mhm.
talk about the experience there on, especially from the standpoint of the people who are thinking like the agent or the bureau partner has to find you on this massive stage. Literally, there was probably like 15 people in the room. I mean,
Mhm.
Amy, you were there
Yes.
twice when we did it. Can you talk
I
a little
was,
bit
yes.
about that?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that there were so many things that just kind of captivated me from the beginning, and one of those was the fact that, like, I know you are going to give it your absolute all, and the preparation, the work. I mean, I told you nobody works harder than the event MC, right? Because they have to. I mean, the amount of information you're aggregating and you're listening in real time and you're weaving in stories and you're bringing in your content and your own expertise, but you're just making sure that there's that experiential element that is really difficult to do, especially in real time. And so I think for me, it was watching you do that, but at an energy level that was like 15 people in the room or 15,000 people in the room. Like Quinn is like, he is going to bring the same amount of energy, the same amount of preparation. So obviously I was impressed by that. And then when we had that side conversation, you're like, hey, like I'm going all in, on MC, right? And I was like, I love that. And so when I think about adding talent, to the management roster, and when I think about when I think about loud, when I think about my business, I love that you just said the word expand, because that is my word for 2026.
Mm.
And I think expanding not only the roster size, but also just kind of expanding how Loud can be more of a programming partner to our clients. So if we're working with an organization, maybe we're booking speakers, but we're booking breakout sessions and workshops. We're bringing in the MC, we're bringing in someone to do all the voiceover work, to really host the event, to do the awards gala, to do all of those things. And for me to be able to offer that to clients, I mean, that's a huge expansion for me. And so I think when I look at having a true partnership, with the speakers on my roster, that is what I look for. I look at those opportunities to truly partner. And I think, Quinn, that's what you really connected that for me. It's like Quinn is a partner, right? Like she's out there doing her thing. She's already got the TED Talk. She's already doing the new reel. She's refreshing the website. She's booked in. So it's like, you don't need me, but we make a great partnership because our goals are aligned, and where I'm going, you're going, we're just going to go together. So we're going to get there faster. We're going to get there bigger, and we're going to get more money, and we're going to make money together and be successful. But we're also going to be going alongside each other. And I think if there's anything I've learned, it's like, it has to be a partnership between manager and speaker, and really going together. And I think you have made that abundantly clear from the beginning, hey, let's go together. And that is what makes me so excited.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you're singing my song. You're doing my dance. Rob Foray says expand to create demand. Thank you, Rob, for joining in. Robert Kennedy III says partnership is exactly the story. People are just kind of following in right now. I love that. And you're so right. And I think that people despise small stages. I mean, even when, Connor, I was like, I know it's not one of your big stages. I'm like, Connor, I care about the people. I care about the mission. When it talks about that. And I didn't know. I just came in as a partner, like you said to him, like, what do you need me to do? How can I support you? What's going on? So of course, during those pre-meetings, he's like, okay, we're going to have Amy Taylor. I'm like, oh, I know Amy. So he's kind of going down some of the people. I was like, what do you want the speakers in the audience to know? And then I'll craft the questions to meet that need. So these are the things that are happening behind the scenes. So one of the things that you're exactly right, whether you're a speaker or whether you're an MC, you don't save your good for last. Like, you don't save your good story, your good message, or your good audience activation activity for the 15,000, person audience. You give it to 1,500 or 150. And that's how I bring it, because at the end of the day, small, large, intimate, expansive, they all deserve a professional event experience that's not boring but mind-blowing, right?
Exactly.
And that's where you have to lean into. So I love this. If you're just joining us, I'm having a conversation with Amy Taylor. Please, please, please drop your comments in the chat, and I'll bring those up. And we're just talking about all things, that the agents notice that can get you represented, right? And I'm just kind of sharing our story, but I know that there are a lot of speakers and MCs who potentially want to get more bookings on their own, but more importantly, catch the eye of an agent. And I wanted to have that conversation. So let's turn it off from me, right? Because one of the things that I like to do is I like to share my journey and journal my journey, so people don't think I just arrived. But I also know that people making comments on my Facebook posts and my LinkedIn just about, I did a post called 7 things to know if you're ready for an agent or not. So let's start there.
So good.
You talk a little bit about this, right? You said, Quinn, you kind of already have some things going on, right? Like, you have a website, you have a reel. What are some of the small things that you as an agent notice that you would say, hey, I think I might want to represent that person, that speaker, that MC, that thought leader? What are you looking for? And what stood out to the people that are on your roster? What stood out about me? Or what stands out period, what small things stand out that will make people be more approachable to attract an agent like you?
Yes, I thank you for giving me a platform to talk about this because I think it's really important to be transparent. And I think if we look at events like Level Up where we met, that was exactly the purpose. It was really to be transparent about what it does take. That nobody really just arrives, in this
Yes.
industry. But at the same time, the barrier to entry is zero. I could decide tomorrow, hey, forget management. I want to be a speaker, and I could go make myself a website and I could call myself a speaker. I could call myself an expert. Right. And so that is, that's an interesting time, that we're seeing the market kind of flooded with so many speakers, right? And so I think calling yourself a speaker does not make you a speaker. And I think I said this at the last
Yeah.
clip. I said the myth that I want to bust is that not everyone can be a speaker. And so I think, the fact that you went and got a TEDx stage, I mean, that whole submission process, it is not like, hey, I submit and I get it, right? Like it's a process and you have to be selected and you have to be really intentional about, that submission and that that idea. And that's difficult to do. And so I think things like that, where you're really edifying your craft in your content and showing that you can bring an audience. I call it bring your own audience, right? Because as a manager, as a bureau agent, if you, the speaker, cannot book you, neither can we.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I really stress that as far as like Loud Management amplifies what the speakers on our roster are already doing. Now we do have some, that have not been speaking full time for, 10 years. Some it's more, maybe 2 to 3 years. So, there's a different strategy in place, for kind of where you're at, in your speaking journey. But I think you definitely have to have your own audience. You have to be creating your own business. And it doesn't have to be a huge stage. It can be a small stage. It can be through a friend. Maybe you do something, for no fee, but you get a beautiful video out of it. And then you have that marketing asset. So it's being really strategic about building your marketing assets based on where you are and not trying to do something that, isn't going to serve you in the moment. And I think another thing is I always go back to the reputation formula. And this is Roy Vaden, our mutual friend, Quinn.
Yes.
You've emceed his stage, you've moderated his panels, but he has what he calls the reputation formula, and that is results times reach equals reputation. So I'm very bad at math, but I do know anything times zero equals zero, right? So if you have no reach, meaning you have no inner circle, you have no group of meeting planners, you have no one who you could call to say, hey, help me get on a stage, no one to like affirm what you're doing, right? Then you have no reach. But maybe you have great results. Maybe you had your work certified by Harvard Business Review, or maybe you're in the process of writing a book. But each part of that formula has to have numeric value. It has to have value, right? Because that is your reputation and that is how you get seen. Maybe that's your LinkedIn thought leadership, but all of that adds up to how people see you and find you and, confirm your expertise. And so I always remind people of that. And it's not about social media following. I'm all about real influence. I don't put on my roster based on their Instagram following, based on their YouTube following. Sure, all of those things help because that is how younger buyers are searching for speakers. So I don't think it's something to be dismissive of, but I don't necessarily look for speakers based on following, right? Because there are other tangible, more true metrics, I think, to building a speaking business than, your digital footprint as far as social media followings.
No, I love that. And you drop so much gems. And if you are picking up what Annie's putting down, just type yes, ma'am in the comments because I already know that she's giving some great information. And we talked about that. I think because like I said, we did 2 events together too. So let me be clear. The event for Level Up, it's like a quarterly series that he's doing where he's doing training and development. So it wasn't like we met one time, right? Because sometimes somebody could be great one time and you see him again and it's a completely different person. Like there was a little bit of buildup that was connecting and of course connecting in between through LinkedIn and commenting on each other's posts and staying connected that way.
Realizing like how many people we had in common too.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, Quinn and Amy, yes, like Monica's over here, Shelly's over here, like yes.
It really is a small world. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, it really
It
is a
is.
small world. And like you said, if somebody's like, I'm a speaker today, the internet or social media will confirm or deny that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Because
Yep.
you can call some people and you can tell who's commenting, like, I love this partnership
Yep.
because they know us. They know us together through,
Yep.
being in this industry. And that's a lot as well. So I know one of the things we talked about was being bookable and findable. And most people try to just get booked. And I remember us talking about being findable. And
Yep.
now people found you because I've had several
Yep.
people in my DMs like, oh my gosh, like I'm such a fan of Loud. I didn't even know this existed. You know
I
what I
know.
mean? Like, I'm like, yep, it
I know.
exists. But what I also don't want to happen is people reaching out to you saying, can you manage me too? Can you be my
Mhm.
agent too? So, can we
Mhm.
talk about some of the mistakes that speakers make when maybe trying to approach somebody like you to make
Yep.
sure that they're ready and they don't get their feelings hurt? Because this was not a cold pitch. This was a what I call a relationship that was built. So let's talk about
Yes.
some of the individuals who are like, I think I'm ready. Should I reach out to Amy? Should I
Mhm.
send her people an email? Like, what should I do if I think that I'm ready? But let's talk about some of the mistakes that speakers are making when seeking representation.
Yes. Oof, this is a hard one for me, Quinn, because I want to talk to everybody and I want to help everybody and I want to represent any woman that reaches out and wants representation. I want to say yes, but obviously I can't do that because if we're talking again about thinking small, the audacity to go small, I want our roster to be like more of a boutique feel. Like I'm not interested in having hundreds of speakers. I'm not interested in having a bureau. I have a management roster, that's under, 15 speakers for a reason. That's all very intentional, right? And I don't have, you know, expand or not, the goal is not to have, hundreds of speakers. But I think for me, I've had to learn the hard way that, I have now made it a requirement that to can even consider adding you to the roster, I have to see you speak live.
Mm.
And that's if you want to fly me out, maybe you're in Dallas or Austin or, the stars align and we're in the same place, same time, and I can come see you, or you want to fly me out to see you, like all day long. But I have made that a requirement. And so I feel like even when people reach out to me, I say that, from the beginning, and it is not to be dismissive. It is not to not be supportive. It is truly just, where I'm at in my business. And in order to consider a speaker, I have to see what you can do. I have to be in the, as Judy Holler says, I have to be in the energetics
Yes.
of what you're doing. Right. And that's part of it now. And so I think I've become a lot more strict in my vetting process and my onboarding process. And so I think that I'm just very transparent about that in the beginning. But I always encourage people to reach out because I'm always happy to look at someone's website or to look at someone's materials and just give some really honest feedback because again, my contribution to this industry outside of representing incredible women is to elevate it and to make it better. And I think that's why you and I, when we get asked to do the level up events or get asked to do lives or contribute content, like I always say yes, because that's important for me to have a thought leadership presence in this industry and to, help, as much as I can with, as much as bandwidth allows. And I, also, I do charge for calls as well, which sometimes, turns people off. But again, that's like, that is my time. So I'm happy to give you a consulting call. I'm happy to, to answer any questions. I'm an open book, but you will pay for my time. And it's a nominal amount, but those are things that I've put in place just to kind of protect my energy and protect my brand. But again, I always welcome LinkedIn connections. I always welcome an email. I always welcome a call, and not just because they're paid, but I mean, again, that is my time, and I am an expert in what I do, and but I'm always happy to connect with people.
Yeah, and I you have to have business boundaries, Amy.
Mhm.
Listen, I remember when I first got
I know it's so
started
hard
and
for
I
me.
really began to like expand and I picked my niche and I owned it and people were like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be an MC too." I
Yep,
found myself like doing more I got you girl calls than I was doing sales calls because it's
I
like
know.
I know how it feels to
Yep.
break into an industry and all my friends are keynote speakers and I'm the
Mhm.
only one going left and they're all going right.
Yep.
So when I started to like really make a business out of this, I was on those calls and I'm like, people are not ready. They were wasting my time. It was just a lot. So I
Yep.
never apologize for business boundaries.
Yep.
So thank you so much. I mean, because again, if not, like, you're going to be on calls forever. At least you have a barrier to know this person is serious.
Yes, exactly.
So I love that. So let's talk about what our relationship looks like, right? I know we're
Yeah.
about to, I like try to keep this between, 30, 35 minutes, but let's
Mhm.
talk about what this is or what this isn't, because you
Yes.
said it and I think we had the conversation and we're so on the same page. I
Mhm.
will be 100% honest, whoever's watching live or catching the replay.
Mhm.
I am not sitting back and folding my arms and saying, Amy, go sell me, right? I am
Mhm.
not. I told her,
Right.
what do you want to do? I want to be your partner. What
Yes.
can I do to make sure, you know what I mean, that I am working for you and we're working together? I was
Yeah.
like, so I know right now, people might not be coming to her and saying, hey, we need an MC, but they could be saying, we need a great speaker, a keynote. I'm like, I can be your upsell. Like, hey, you need a
Yeah.
keynote, but also too, do you need an MC?
Yes.
So can you talk about like what does your role look like for me, but for all the other 15 other fabulous women? I
Mhm.
mean, are you pitching us? Are you, going after business? Because I want people to understand what the role is. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of speakers are like, oh my gosh, Quinn, you're about to just hang out and chill. I'm like, no, I'm working
Yeah.
for her too. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean? Like, I'm not just saying waiting for her to like send me business. I'm going to continue to work. And then if I do get some stuff in, I might even just pass it along to
Mhm.
her so she can manage it so we can get the relationship going. So
Right.
let's talk about what does that look like for me, but also how does representation look like when you are managing, other women and
Mm.
getting them placed and booked?
Yes, absolutely. So I always say, managing is different from marketing, right? I mean, speaker bureaus, unless you're an exclusive or a managed speaker for a bureau, that is essentially channel marketing for you, right? Like they are marketing you by having you on their website. You're integrated into their SEO strategy. The agents have all of your information. They're able to put you on proposals. So that is a great that's a great way to increase your visibility. And all of our speakers on our management roster you will also see on bureau websites, right? And so we're not preventing, Quinn, you from being booked by bureaus. We love our bureau partners, and so that is another way that we can be leveraging our agent relationships to give you more visibility. And then also on the direct business side, I mean, we love going direct, and we love being able to have that upsell. And again, when we look at really wanting to be a programming partner, that is where having somebody that can speak, MC, moderate a panel, do voiceover work, give the announcements. Like it's such a turnkey, offering that we're able to give. And so that's really exciting to me. And so I'm excited to bring that in, to our existing book of business. So whether that's in our, email newsletters that we send out, amplified, which we'll be announcing you in the one for this month, Quinn. So that goes out to our list of contacts, which is a very curated list of about 10,000 people. So that goes out once a month. Obviously, we have our social media team who does great work. We're doing blog posts. I have to I have to plug our Loud Management website. We redid it last year, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. We worked really hard on that. But I think at the end of the day, it is a partnership. So it's bringing you, Quinn, into the atmosphere of the Loud relationships, of Loud clients, but also prospecting. It's also you and I communicating and saying, what are the goals? What are those 10 conferences that, Amy, I would love to be on, and I want you to be my mouthpiece to craft that pitch and put my name forward and nurture that relationship. And then once we close that deal, guess what? Then we're going to handle the contract, the payment, the pre-event calls, your event itinerary, making sure that you have all the preparation that you need. So we're back in support as well. And I know you have Misty, dream, we love her. But again, we do offer that, admin support side as well, because a lot of speakers, they're on an island, by themselves.
Yeah.
They're a team of one. Maybe they have a VA, maybe they have someone helping them, with paperwork, with follow-ups. But a lot of times it's a team of one. So when you sign with Loud, you're also getting a team. You're getting a team with myself, with almost 20 years of experience in the industry and a depth of relationships, but you're also getting a social media team. You're getting a content marketing team. You're getting two, sales agents who are also like dedicated to pitching you. And that's all outbound new business. And then, like you said, you're also, let's say you're on the road and you get a lead and it's hot, hot, hot. And you're like, Amy, need you to get on that right away.
Hmm.
We're also here, to support you. So again, it is, there's a lot of trust, that's there because you're inviting me into your business that you've worked so hard to build, and I'm inviting you into mine. And so I think that's the beautiful part of this type of management partnership is that truly that's truly the heart of it, is really just trust, communication, amplification, and again, running alongside together.
I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just love how you can keep saying program partner, because
Mhm.
that's also a part of, my language, especially as someone who is, supporting events, not just from the main stage. It's what you do before, especially in the MC role. A lot of times as the keynote speaker, they might have maybe one or two max calls,
Yeah.
whereas I could be on 7 calls before the actual event.
Right. And
Um,
you might be you're talking to leadership,
yep.
you're talking to AV, you're talking to promotion, you're talking to marketing, to social, you're talking to attendees. Like, you're getting that 360 view of what that event is going to be like, and then taking all of that in and putting it into, your MC work, which is, I mean, it's an expansive job. And that's exactly why I told you when I met you that to me, that's the hardest job at any event.
Yeah. Agree. Oh, I agree. I
Mhm,
agree. And I'm
mhm.
singing
And
it
you
to
can
the
quote me on that.
rooftops. Yeah, I sing it to the rooftops,
Yes.
as far as one of the jobs and positions that I feel like the industry kind of overlooks
Mhm.
or underestimates,
Yep.
that we can really tune into. So Ann Bonnie says, "Oh my gosh, love this. So helpful. Ann is
Oh,
amazing. She's
good.
also
Thank you,
a
Jan.
fellow MC, and she's a badass woman as well. Annie
Oh,
is absolutely amazing."
love that.
Okay, so as we're going to wrap this up, I'm always a cheerleader and champion for the MC role. And I don't take it lightly that I know that you're the majority of your rosters. I think there's two of us that are
Mhm.
MCs.
Yes.
From your experience, and especially if people are watching this, like, oh my gosh, like I need to reach out to Amy about potentially bringing Quinn on,
Mhm.
or one of the other MCs or speakers. What do you think in regards to events and your 20 years of experience that you wish more planners knew about the MC role, that you
Mm.
feel like they're still kind of stuck 20 years ago getting boring board member Bob to do it,
Yes.
or something like
Mhm.
that? Like, you can provide a great speaker for 60 minutes, but
Yep.
if your event is 2 or 3 days, what do you wish that more event planners and conference producers knew, that having the right MC
Mm.
a part of their program can elevate their conference or attendee experience? What do you think they
Yes.
should know?
Oh, that is such a great question, and I have a lot of ideas, but the one that comes just top of mind is really just the dedicated amount of prep work, the preparation that goes into it, and the difference between just saying, here, Bob, here's a piece of paper, like, read this introduction, read these transitions. I think it makes it so much more impactful for the attendees. And then I think what I saw you do magically at Level Up was listen to the panels, listen to the sessions, and you're downloading that in real time, and then you're summarizing that when you get back on stage. So you're like, okay, audience, did you hear that? Like, Amy said XYZ, like, write that down. Like, did you hear that? And then you put your spin on it, and you bring in your keynoting experience, your content experience, and ability to weave that in. And so I think, just again, having someone who is a professional MC, like, that is a real thing. And it is an exceptional investment that you can make for your attendees. And I really think they get the most out of the speakers and the sessions and the rest of the content when they have somebody pulling all of that together.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness. I'm
Mhm.
going to chop that up and repost that for every planner
Yes.
who so they can see that. So absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I could
Oh,
talk
thank
to
you,
you forever
Quinn.
and ever.
I
I
know.
love
Like, let's
this.
let's do this more often. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah, we might have to do a series or something like that. And for those
Yes.
individuals who are either interested, I mean, because I do have a lot of planners who I'm connected to. If it is an MC, great. But I listen, I'm vouching. There are some amazing keynote speakers on your roster. Can you tell people where they can learn more about Loud Management and some of the
Yes.
speakers and MCs that you represent? Where can they go to find more about your speakers?
Absolutely. So Loud Management website is the best way. It's loud-mgmt.com. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, Amy Taylor. Would love to connect with you. And we also, you can find our social channels, sign up for our newsletter, see our blog posts all on the website, and see Quinn's profile that is up now. Announcement going out later today.
All right. Well, thank you
Yes.
so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
us always
Quinn.
having a what I call an energy exchange. And we're going to see each other probably what, three more times this year.
We
So
are. We're
I'm
next
going to see
month.
you at Influence, right? I'm
Yeah.
going to see you at Influence in
Yeah.
Austin. And then
Mhm.
you're going to come and see Judy and I in Kentucky. I think, is it
Yes.
Kentucky? I'm
Yes,
like,
I
where am I
think
going
it's
to be? Okay. So let me
Louisville.
think about
Yeah,
that.
uh-huh.
In
Yep,
Kentucky.
yep.
And then I'll be back in Dallas in September for Level
Yes.
Up.
I love
So
it. We've got already got 3 touch points in person. I love it.
yes, 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 yes. Okay,
And
Amy.
many
Well,
more.
thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining us. If you are catching the replay, make sure you drop your biggest aha moments in the chat. But more importantly, celebrate your small wins with us. If you learned something small today, if you've done something small, we want to hear from it. Drop it in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon on the next episode of Small Wins with Quinn. Enjoy the rest of your wonderful Wednesday.